welcome to Don't Be Bored. Today we're going through Best of the Month, where I'm joined by a range of creators to talk about what board games they have been absolutely loving in the past month. It doesn't necessarily have to be a new game, it's just something that we've got to the table and enjoyed in the past month. So let's see what some creators have been picking.
Hi, I'm Barb, MeeplePhD, and my favorite play for June 2024 is Doctor Who Time of the Daleks. This is a dice-chucking game that is semi-co-op and has IP attached to it, which are two things that I'm not usually a huge fan of. But I do love Doctor Who, and I do love the dice-chucking, and so this one for me just kind of gets in there where others might not. This game is a little bit reminiscent of Elder Sign, where you are going to different locations, rolling dice and hoping to get the right symbols to succeed at various tasks. But in this case, you are in a race against the Daleks. Each player is one of the doctors, and on your turn, you will be visiting different locations, either in the past or the future, and trying to solve a problem. As you're at the location, you will choose a pool of dice based on what's available to you on your doctor and on the various characters and equipment that you've equipped to your TARDIS. And then you will roll your handful of dice and compare it to what you need to succeed at the task. There is a chance of re-rolling, but you have to discard one of the black dice in order to do it. And once you run out of black dice, if you haven't succeeded, you will fail. Now, if you succeed, you get a reward of some sort, which might be moving your TARDIS closer to Earth. Since this is a race against the Daleks, if you can get there first, you win. If the Daleks get there first, everybody loses. If you fail, you might end up moving the Daleks. You might end up just taking a penalty of some sort. You might even end up regenerating, which can happen if you fail or succeed. But this is where all of a sudden you are no longer playing the doctor you had been playing, but you take the next one in time order. And everyone at the table, when one person regenerates, everyone has to regenerate. There are other things that happen, like these time anomalies that come up as the Daleks hit certain spaces on the track for their race to Gallifrey. When that happens, you get another special location that is usually fairly hard to succeed at, but can give you bad things that happen until you succeed at it. So this is where the semi-co-op comes in, is that there are some spaces on the board that let you move the Daleks back, but they don't necessarily get you a reward of moving forward, but it can help prevent those time anomalies which hurt everybody. And so we kind of look at this game as mostly cooperative, like we really do want to succeed against the Daleks. And maybe there's a winner, but everyone at the table kind of wins if the doctor wins. So that's it for me this month, Doctor Who Time of the Daleks. I hope you had a great month gaming. You can find me on YouTube as MeeplePhD, where I connect astronomy and board games. I also have a blog at MeeplePhD.com, and I'm on Instagram and Blue Sky. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Julian, this is Libby, and together we make up Boxed Meeples.
We do indeed, and we're talking about our favourite games that we played in the month of June. And for me, there was a lot of great games that we played, and I've mentioned Cities quite a few times, but one that I really loved, we actually found and picked up on our honeymoon, so I think it's always going to have a bit of a special spot in my heart, and it's Alawa from Bombeck. So we love a lot of their card games, so we've recently been playing Nar, Sea Salt and Paper is one of our favourites to travel with and things, and this has got that similar nice compact box, really travelable, easy to table and play that those games have, and it just gives a little different twist. So it's a nice addition to the collection. In this one, you're playing tribespeople, you're all gathering around a campfire, and there's lots of resources. And it's interesting the way that you pick up the cards depending on maybe what you're looking for the card to do, or perhaps you might be picking a card because of the resources that you'll be able to pick up because of its position. And there are some cards in there that you're laying out that will cost a lot of resources to lay down, but then give you instant great amount of points. And there are other ones that you can get out quite easily, but then you've got to do an awful lot of work throughout the game to make them sync up with other things. So there might be ones you're trying to cache other resources on top of. There's some where you're trying to get similar types of cards or colours of cards to also lay out, because the more of that same type that you get into your sort of tableau, the more points you're going to get for each of them, and trying to get all of those cards that you're laying into your sort of tableau to sort of work together and sync together with the resources that you're able to get hold of, is really interesting. And there's also a nice little element where if you manage to deplete one of the piles of resources around the campfire, then you get to take an extra bonus resource from the middle of the campfire as you're sort of refreshing those piles and making sure that you're timing things well. So that comes round onto your turn is always an interesting little puzzle with this game. So yeah, really lovely little card game. Another one from Bombrex, who are doing so well in that sort of genre of games, I think, at the moment. And I think it's time to address the elephant in the room as to why on earth you are looking like that today.
Well, my game of the month has been Radlands, and yes, it's a game you bought actually to take with us on honeymoon, because when you're on honeymoon, what you want to play is a really aggressive game of two-player battle.
Yeah.
Really, that should be top on your list of things to play. So if you don't know what Radlands is, it's a fantastic two-player dueling game where you'll have 3 cards to form your base, and you're laying out cards to basically defend that base. Now, the art style we need to talk about. This looks fantastic on the table. It's a really great world they kind of create, a kind of mixture of kind of Mad Max and Borderlands and Tank Girl, and I think that really does enrich the experience, because the game itself is relatively simple. You draw a card, then you're spending water to play cards from your hand or to activate cards. But what gets really exciting is kind of the event that you place out, and that ticks along, and then once that's reached the kind of end of your kind of play area, something big happens, and that's going to really affect you or destroy your opponent. It's quick to play. I mean, you kind of get through this game in about 10-15 minutes, which really does set it up with lots of kind of best of 3, best of 5 games, because there's a big pool of cards you can draw to create your 3-card base, and that variation, that big card pool, does mean that each game plays differently, even though it's very simple to play and very simple to kind of quickly understand and get going. But yeah, we when we played this, we're kind of 50-50 in kind of win-lose. So I think that shows the kind of the true balance of the game, and how it's not really luck based, it's kind of very strategic in a way. And I just really love the world that it builds. I want it to be some sort of anime or kind of novel or graphic novel that explains all these fun characters you get to meet in this game. If you haven't played Borderlands, you like 2-player games, this should really be one you're happy to play with. Only, of course, if you're really like a kind of take that aggressive game. There's nothing friendly in this game, and there's more expansions on the horizon, which is just going to enrich this game even more.
Yeah, so we've gone for 2 lovely little travelable card games this month. So there's a lot of those out there, and I think it's the season for travel small box games. Yeah.
So, as I like to do now and again, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to recommend Balatro, which is actually a video game that you can play, but it's super board game adjacent. It's based on poker, but I don't really like poker that much. I've never really got into it, but that's the sort of top line theming, and it's a deck building game. A roguelike deck building game, or roguelite at least. What does that all mean? Well, it means that you're creating a deck and trying to improve it. You're trying to get these joker cards which give you multipliers and such, and you're trying to build up these fun combos through to beating bosses, and these bosses are normally just playing sort of hands of poker with different rules and stipulations. So you've got this deck, and you can change some of the hearts to spades. Well, now you've got more spades in your deck, so you're going to have a better chance of playing effectively 5 of the same, or a flush, and different things like that. You unlock new decks which, well, one of them starts with only hearts and spades. There are no clubs or diamonds. Another one starts where it's only a 40-card deck rather than 52. So maybe when you're adding cards to it, because along the way you're unlocking money and sort of maybe adding cards to your deck, new cards, so now you've affected your odds in that sort of great deck building sense. It's a bit different from other deck building games on the computer that you might have played or heard of, like Slay the Spire or Wild Frost, where you're sort of using your cards to deploy units and beat bad guys. This is a really chilled card-based game where you're sort of doing very much deck building at its core. It's not a board game, and I'm not sure I'd want it as a board game, because the jokers that mean like, oh, every ace you play you double this your multiplier, oh, every 2 you've played, every spade you've played, all of these multiply things, it would be so much admin to work out as a board game, but it just works with the deck building and poker theme. It's a really good fun experience that you might like. It's worth taking a look, and that's Balatro. Anyway, enough from me. Let's see what Simon's picked this month.
Hey buddies, welcome to Amass Games. My name is Simon. Today I'm bringing you best of the month for June 2024. Now this particular game takes 75 minutes to play in the box. It does take 75 minutes to play, including the teach, set up and pack down. It does say 45 minutes 75 for 2 to 4 players. I found whatever the player count always takes 25 minutes. This is by Hooch. It's designed by Peter Prince. More games by Peter Prince will be bringing to the channel as well. And this is a game whereby it is the extinction age. There has been a comet going off, as you can see, or basically it's a volcano as well. There are a cave. We're looking to basically try and save our various animals. We're looking to hatch them, and we are looking to get them home. And when you get them home, you're going to get an extra ability that you can use as well. So kind of like variable player powers. It's a bit like Ticket to Ride, a bit like Quest for El Dorado, whereby you can use the side of the cards which allow you to move. And the most interesting thing about this game, which might make it my best of the month for that reason, is as leapfrogging. So with more players, you get more interaction as well. Double-sided as well. The starter side isn't much different to the advanced side. The advanced side literally being a few more squares, I think, are together and connected in terms of colour, but I generally prefer the advanced side as well. So in this game you're having 3 different animals you can bring out, represented by 3 different paw prints, 1, 2 or 3. And as I said, you're trying to get them home. When you get them home, you're going to get points to bring them home, which you'll tot up at the end as well. You'll also have a variable player power as well, so everybody's going to have a unique card. There's 10 available in the game, so they're asymmetric, and that power you can find on some other cards too. You can have some silver cards and you can have some gold cards. Of course, check out my How to Set Up Play and Review for that full video overview as well. I've had this game for quite a few months now, and this is by Funtails, I said also by Hooch. And yes, it's a nice kind of like entry game if you're looking to do a bit more of a, not a filler necessarily, but a kind of family weight game as well. So any questions, as always, do let me know at the comment section on YouTube. Of course, if there's any other questions that do arise, of course, you do have the video I do have available out there too as well. And again, I hope you found this one of interest. Again, just Google Amass Games and comment. Apart from that, I like the artwork too. Again, you can have these silver cards, more advanced gold cards as well. The game deck runs out depending on the number of players. Once it ends, you've only got 2 more options you can do, which is basically try and bring home your last animals, or you can try and still hatch them out because you might still get them home. Again, what you hatch out depends on what cards you have, because you're going to need the right connection to get them back to the cave. Aside from that, again, you are looking to get these various animals to chain together. There is some luck mitigation, so there is some issues actually with the luck because you might not draw what you need. So do be aware of that, especially if you're playing on a higher player count. People might take what cards you need too. So it works, not necessarily luck mitigation, but there's luck, and there's also some factors whereby you can kind of not hate draft, but you definitely can stop people from getting what they really need. Apart from that, it's nice. Obviously, you can't tuck cards underneath this little player board to start off with, and you do need to kind of splay them a little bit, so it does take a bit of space as you go. But apart from that, like I said, it isn't that long to play, and it is straightforward, literally 1 of 3 options. The final thing I haven't mentioned is once you use an ability, you turn the card sideways. So the third option you can do in the game, rather than bringing out an animal or moving the animal, is you can rest. Rest allows you to take an extra action with that once per rest phase. That has been Comet. Thanks very much for watching. Speak to you again soon. And for now, back to the table.
Anyway, that about wraps us up today. I hope you've enjoyed listening about some games, you've heard maybe about some new ones, or one that you were thinking about, and now you know it's good and maybe worth purchasing. Let us know in the comment section below, what is your favourite game that's been mentioned, and what did you enjoy most in the past month? And while you're going down there, check the description box out, because I'm going to have links to the creators that joined me on today's show. And, well, you know, this is best of the month, but go back and watch the previous ones. They're not really dedicated to a time period, it's just what we've been enjoying most. So more board games to talk about, so go check that out. And until next time, have a fantastic month gaming.